Hi there, in this video, we are gonna learn about simplifying fractions. Let's get started. Simplifying fractions. Simplifying a fraction means making a fraction as simple as possible. This means finding an equivalent fraction that has the smallest possible numbers on the top numerator and bottom denominator. There are three main methods to simplify a fraction. Method 1, using the highest common factor HCF. 1. Find the HCF of both the numerator and the denominator. We do this by prime factorization and divide both top and bottom numbers, starting by the smallest prime factors until we can't divide any further. If it can divide both numbers, we mark or circle the factor. Then multiply the marked factors to find the HCF. 2. We divide both the numerator and the denominator by the HCF to get the simplified fraction. We learned how to take the HCF of two or more numbers in all previous videos. Let's simplify for over 8 using this method. First, we find the HCF of 4 and 8 using prime factorization. The smallest prime number to divide both 4 and 8 is 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Since both numbers can be divided by 2, we mark the number 2. Then 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Again, 2 has divided both numbers, so we mark the number 2. We leave 1 since we cannot divide it further, and divide 2 by 2, which is 1. We do not mark the number 2 because it only divided one of the numbers. The HCF is the multiplication the marked factors, which is 2 times 2. So the HCF of 4 and 8 is 4. The next step was to divide the numerator and the denominator by the HCF to simplify the fraction. So we divide the top number, 4, by 4, which is 1. Then we divided the bottom number, 8, by 4, which is 2. So 4 over 8 simplifies to 1 over 2. Now let's learn the second method to simplify a fraction. Method 2, dividing by prime numbers. 1. Divide both the numerator and the denominator starting with the smallest possible prime number. 2. Continue dividing by prime numbers until you can't divide both numbers any further. Let's simplify for over 8 using this method. The smallest prime number we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by is 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Again, we divide both the numerator and the denominator of 2 over 4 by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. We cannot divide the numerator and the denominator any further. So 4 over 8 simplifies to 1 over 2. Now let's look into the third method. Method 3, canceling common factors. 1. Factor the top, the numerator, and the bottom, the denominator numbers. 2. Cancel the common factors from both the numerator and the denominator. 3. Multiply the remaining factors to get the simplified fraction. This method can also be thought of as multiplying the numbers by canceling common factors directly. For small numbers, this can be straightforward, but for larger numbers, you may need to use prime factorization to find all the factors. For example, let's simplify for over 8 using this method. 4 factors into 2 times 2, 8 factors into 2 times 2 times 2. Now we cancel the common factors. 2 of these 2's are common in both the numerator and the denominator, so we canceled them. Now we multiply the remaining factors. In the denominator, we just have to left. In the numerator, there are no factors left. However, there is an important thing you need to know. There is always a factor of 1. So even though it looks like there are no factors left in the numerator, there is actually a 1. Thus, 4 over 8 simplifies to 1 over 2. All three methods show that 4 over 8 is the same as 1 over 2, just in a simpler form. Let's do another example, 15 over 20. Let's use the first method. So we need to find the HCF of 15 and 20. We start dividing by the smallest prime number, which is 2. Since 15 can't be divided by 2 evenly, we just leave it and divide 20 by 2, which gives us 10. We divide 10 by 2 again, which gives us 5. The number 2 cannot divide both 15 and 5. The next smallest prime number is 3. We divide 15 by 3, which is 5. We cannot divide 5 by 3, so we leave it. The next prime number is 5, and we can divide both numbers by 5. So when we divide both 5s by 5, it gives us 1. We mark the factor 5 because it divides both numbers. So the HCF of 15 and 20 is 5. Now we divide both the numerator and the denominator of 15 over 20 by the HCF 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. Thus, 15 over 20 simplifies to 3 over 4. Now, using second method, we need to divide both the numerator and the denominator of 15 over 20 starting with the smallest possible prime number. 2 cannot divide both the numerator and the denominator. It can only divide 20. Well, 3 also cannot divide both the numerator and the denominator. It can only divide 15. Only 5 can divide both the numerator and the denominator of 15 over 20. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. Thus, 15 over 20 simplifies to 3 over 4. Now, let's use the third method to simplify 15 over 20. First, we factor the top and bottom numbers. Since the number's not that big, it is easy to factor them directly without using the prime factorization. 15 factors into 3 times 5, and 20 factors into 2 times 2 times 5. Now, we cancel the common factors. The number 5 is common in both the numerator and denominator, so we cancel them. Now, we multiply the remaining factors. In the numerator, we just have 3 left. In the denominator, we have 2 times 2, which is 4. So, 15 over 20 simplifies to 3 over 4. All 3 methods show that 15 over 20 is the same as 3 over 4, just in a simpler form. If you have already noticed, we keep saying that simplified fractions are the same. Why simplified fractions are equal? Even though a fraction might look different when simplified, it represents the same amount or part of a whole. The value of the fraction stays the same. We have learned these in our last video on comparing fractions, but again, let's show it. To see this clearly, let's show this visually for 4 over 8 that simplifies into 1 over 2. When we divide a rectangle into 8 equal parts and shade 4 of them, it represents 4 over 8. When we simplify 4 over 8 to 1 over 2, we're still shading the same amount of the rectangle, just showing it with fewer parts. Both 4 over 8 and 1 over 2 represent the same amount of shading in the rectangle, so they are equal in value. Simplifying just makes it easier to understand and work with the fraction. There is one last important thing you need to know about simplifying fractions in this video. Remember that you can simplify fractions in multiplication, but not in addition and subtraction. Like in this example, 14 times 9 over 15 times 7. You can factor the numbers and cancel the common ones. The numerator is 2 times 7 times 3 times 3. The denominator is 3 times 5 times 7. We cancel the common factors, 7 and 3. So in the numerator, we have 2 times 3, which is 6. In the denominator, we have 5. Thus, it's simplified into 6 over 5. However, this is not possible in addition and subtraction. So if we have an example like 14 plus 9 over 15 minus 7, we cannot simplify these numbers. It is not possible. That's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.